It is a great honor to move that J.D. Vance be nominated by acclamation by this Republican National Convention as its candidate for the office of Vice President of the United States of America.
That's Ohio Senator J.D. Vance, Donald Trump's pick for his running mate. It's a choice. The Republicans there like it, but it's getting a mixed reaction from American voters.
I've just heard a lot of things that he doesn't really like Trump in the past, so interesting to see.
He's positioned himself as a person of the working class when he's actually not. He's a person who comes from means.
Great choice.
Why?
He's young, he's military, he's a family man. He comes from Ohio. He isn't a privileged man. He was the underdog, and he's for the people.
I really don't know too much about J.D. Vance, other than I guess he's young.
Okay, so who is Trump's new vice presidential pick? Jay Chabria is a Republican strategist and a former political advisor to J.D. Vance. He's now managing director at MAG Global Strategies, and he joins me now. Jay, it's good to see you again. Thanks for joining us.
Yeah, good to see you, David.
You worked with J.D. Vance on the Senate campaign. I think you were his chief strategist when he won a seat in the Senate. Have you talked to him since he was picked to be vice president? What's your reaction to this?
I've talked to him several times. We talk all the time. I mean, look, he is very overwhelmed and humbled by the opportunity to serve the country. I mean, it's really an amazing thing when you look at someone that's, he's 39 years old right now. He came from very humble means. If your viewers don't know much about him, you can check out his book, Hillbilly Elegy, or there's a movie on Netflix called Hillbilly Elegy. I think they both have risen back in the top 10 this week. So, look, he comes from humble means. He joined the military. He went into business and won an election for Senate the very first time he ran, which is never had happened before in Ohio history. And now he's going to be the next vice president of the United States. It's amazing. And he feels it.
What do you think he brings to the ticket? Because Ohio, you try to broaden the base. He doesn't necessarily do that, but he definitely is part of the MAGA movement. Is that what Trump is looking for there, a successor?
Well, I think there's several things that he does do well. And look, the days of trying to find a state or trying to get a specific demographic, they're kind of over. That's not the way you look at these things, in my opinion. I think Donald Trump made a very smart pick for a few reasons. One, J.D. Vance is probably the best person to go on TV and into very tough environments against hostile hosts to defend Donald Trump and to also advocate for his vision. That's a huge aspect of modern presidential campaigns. Number two, he's a military person, as we talked about before. He was a Marine. I think he's going to be I think he's the first Marine to be on a major presidential ticket ever. He actually served in Iraq, so he actually understands what soldiers went through there. So that's number two. And then number three, and I think most important, he has the ability to communicate a message to the cocktail party set, the people that like to buy these books, but then also to everyday working class Americans, which are so much more moving towards the Republican Party every day, whether it's Black, Hispanic, or white. He has an ability to communicate to all of them. And I think that's why, especially when you look at some of our swing states, which are Pennsylvania, Michigan, Wisconsin, he's got a story that resonates with a lot of the large swaths of those states. And I think they're gonna find a lot of bounty in those states. He's
also got a story that resonates with Silicon Valley billionaires. I mean, we've seen like Peter Thiel, Elon Musk, people like this. What is it about J.D. Vance that the big tech giants are lining up behind him for?
Look, I think a lot of the policy chops that J.D. espouses, he's got that ability to go in rooms there and convince them this is what we have to do to make America to the next level. Look, rich people, poor people, whatever, they all want what's right for America, and there's a lot of synergies there too. Look, J.D. spent a little bit of time in Silicon Valley. He was an investor. He knows how to talk their language, and I think they share some certain visions for the rest of the country.
Okay, I'm sure you know about the things he said about Donald Trump in the past. And like you, he's been a guest on this particular program. Back in 2016, J.D. Vance, when he was just the author, J.D. Vance, not the vice presidential pick, he was here to promote his book, Hillbilly Elegy, in 2016, and he was asked about Donald Trump. I want to play this clip. Here's what he had to say back in 2016 on PMP.
Unfortunately, I think that Trump is distracting us from the real issues. I don't think that he has good plans to bring jobs back. I don't think he has any solutions to the opioid epidemic that's plaguing these communities. I don't think that he's going to bring hope to a very frustrated and hopeless area. So ultimately, I'm not a Trump supporter.
So not a Trump supporter. You've seen the text message he sent to a friend saying, I can't decide if he's a cynical opportunist like Nixon or if he's America's Hitler. Boy, that's a big change. How do you explain it?
It is. Look, JD's been very forthcoming about this change, too. When he criticized Donald Trump, he said, I'm not sure he's going to be the change we need, that we're doing the things that we need to do. And when Donald Trump took office, and I think most Americans today will say that they were better off 4 years ago than where they are today, he realized that he was a pretty darn good president. And in terms of, if you take all the rhetoric away, if you take the Twitter away, but actually the policy that he had in America was better off at that point. So look, he said he made a mistake. He was wrong. And remember, you were talking about a person when he was on your show in his early 30s. A lot of people go through a political evolution and try to figure things out. He just happened to do it on TV while he was figuring these things out. And he came on the other side, and he realized that Donald Trump was a good president, and he's been an ardent defender of his ever since. And look, they've hit it off. Donald Trump's forgiven him for those comments. He understands where he came from and where he is now. Donald Trump Jr. is a close friend of his now, and he's on the ticket. I really don't see any difference there. And look, the other thing I would say, too, is when there's a real conversion, when people can say they made a mistake, American people have grace for that. And we saw this in the Ohio Senate race. Trust me, these issues were litigated all the way through that. That was the most expensive race in the Ohio history. And I'm sure it's going to be national, too, but we'll deal with that then.
The Democrats have sort of revealed how they plan to try to put him through the buzzsaw of U.S. politics, right? Talking about comments he's made about women should stay in marriages, even if they're abusive, for the good of the family, his views on abortion. How do you think he's going to stand up to what will be the attack of the Democrats right now?
What I've learned about J.D. in the years that I've known him, and I've known him for quite a while now at this point, is the media, Democrats, the elites, they always underestimate him. They underestimate him, and they try to characterize him in certain ways. He rises above their expectations. He rises above their caricatures, and he's been very successful. He's a brilliant communicator. He's a brilliant policy person, and I have no doubt that he's going to be the next vice president of the United States.
He and Trump are not exactly free traders, just to look at it from the Canadian perspective, as part of arguably the most successful free trade agreement in the history of the planet. If they should win, as you say, he's going to be the vice president of the United States. They are believers in tariffs. They're not necessarily believers in free trade. What should Canadians expect in terms of foreign policy and trade policy from Vance?
Look, I think there is this concept of being America first, and you saw it last time when Donald Trump opened up NAFTA and he did renegotiate things. I actually think I was on the air one of the days that it happened, and there was an issue with dairy farmers in Canada. He's going to fight for what's best for America, not necessarily what's best for the other parts of the world. So I think there are going to be conversations around that. I will not speak for Donald Trump. I can't do that. I don't think anyone really should and expect to know what's going to happen. But I do know that those kinds of issues will start to be addressed and start to look at. But I think there's going to be some conversations to be had with the rest of the world.
He's 39 years old. The American politics is just skipping over Gen X and going right to the millennials, it seems, with this pick. I mean, what does that mean for the Republican Party to go with someone, that young in an election where the age of the people at the top of the ticket is really an all-consuming issue in a lot of ways?
Well, look, I do think that there's a big contrast, especially when you're looking at the other ticket, when you're looking at someone that's so feeble. I desperately am looking forward to the debate if it is Kamala Harris, because I know J.D. I know how he prepares for debates. He's really good at this. And I think it's going to be he's going to be able to rise to that occasion. What really bothers me about his age is that he's much younger than me at this point, and I don't like being the gray hair in the room with him.
Well, I'm the no hair, and I'm much older. But, Jay, you mentioned that he's good at debates. Kamala Harris has challenged him to a debate in August to join her in a debate that's being hosted by CBS. I've not yet seen if he's said yes or no. I suspect that's a post-convention decision. Do you think he should do it?
I think that will be.
Yeah. Do you think he should do it? Do you think he will do it?
I think he will debate her, and I think it's going to be great, and I'm looking very much forward to that night because I know I've seen him debate before. I've seen how people come in with expectations about him before, about where they're going to attack him, but he's really good at this. Again, I think he's one of the best communicators in the Republican Party. I think that's part of the reason Donald Trump picked him, and I think he's going to rise to the occasion.
Jay Chabria, we'll be inviting you back when these debates happen, if these debates happen, and it's good. Thank you for being here with us today. Jay Chabria, Managing Director at MAD Global Strategy. Thank you, sir.
Thanks so much, David.